Hello and welcome back to the roads of Elden Ring. Today we're not going to have a look at the Rauh ruins, which are over there, but today we're going to have a look at an area that is below the Rauh ruins that I almost forgot about, and of course it's started raining now. We're going to have a look at this area down here, this ravine or river that we can see here. This runs below the Rauh ruins, which is the area over here, and this is one of the only areas that is left to explore here. Of course, we have in total 3 areas that we can technically have a look at. The ruins over here, then the area that we're going to have a look at right now, and of course this river part, and then plus the abyssal woods. But let's start with this nice area over here, and that's why I'm here at the High Road Cross again. We also have a message from Letter over here, which I didn't pick up. Let's read it really quickly. Dane passed on a message. The sealing tree is in the ancient ruins of Rauh. It lies beyond the high bridge leading from the first floor of the storehouse. I will join you there once I've finished the task at hand. Right. These messages are telling the player, if they don't know where to go next. But now, usually, this place is shrouded in fog. I'm not really shrouded in fog. It's not explored on the map. You need to pick up a map piece in order to unlock this area, and thus making it somewhat hard to find, maybe. The way on getting here is by going through a cave that is over here. So let's go there right now. This is something that they've done very well in the DLC here, which is verticality. It's very hard from just to look at the map to make out where you get from where, because there are so many layers on top of each other. Or maybe not that many, but already enough that you have like 2 to 4 layers on top of each other to get confused, especially with a plain map like this. Right, you can't swap between layers. This is just like a map on a piece of paper. It's very hard to make out certain areas. I guess we can continue on Torrent here. Right behind this beheaded statue of Marika, we find a cave with some flowers inside, like Miranda flowers. Some runes on the ground, nothing special. Looks quite nice though, I must say. And inside we have a small minor earth tree growing. Or is this a shadow tree? No, this should be a minor earth tree. Tended to by the perfumers that are part of the invading force here. Here we get the amazing incantation Heal from Afar, which exactly does what it says. It's a ranged projectile that when it impacts or reaches its maximum distance, it explodes in a healing circle, basically. Here we have one of these favorite poison swamps. Some small poison steps. Probably created by, well, first of all, stagnant water, and maybe junk that got thrown off by the keep over here, or by the invading force. You also have a graveyard down here. Oh, what would you call this? As part of a graveyard, I would say. Poison swamp aside. If I remember correctly... I'm not remembering correctly. We can't find jack shit over here. But we can have a look at the area below a bit better. This is the secret area that we have unlocked by going down... Let me see, where was it? This is the Hippo Arena, and this is the back side. There's a staircase, not a staircase, a ladder over here where you can go to the water part and go inside, smash in a hidden wall or hidden passage, whatever, and go down the watering hole to end up in this secret area. I mean, here we have a forager brute, so this is at least something nice. Giving us another cookbook and a minor item. Some crafting material. Now let's go through this small cave again. Having to fight off some more death birds over here shouldn't be a problem. Let me see. Nope. For some reason I thought there was another death bird armor item down here, but seems not to be the case. Now we're in the Rauh Base. And here we technically have two options. We can go the left way, or we can go the right way. And honestly, I like the color scheme of the cave a bit more than this. But whatever. Dynamic lighting and such, right? So there are two paths that we can take. If we have a look at the map, we can explore this forested area over here, which ultimately leads into a small dungeon. Or we can go this way. And the game nudges you to go this way first, because this is where you find a map. The map piece to uncover this area, ultimately. Right now for me it's uncovered because I have every single map piece acquired from the start. But the game nudges you into this area. But we're going to explore the forested area first. Oh, the color scheme changes again. How interesting. Here we have some minor defenses from Mesmer's army. Probably created a small outpost maybe here, or they tried to create a small outpost here. The fences are definitely pointing this way, so they're probably guarding this path. Apparently they've already conquered this path and then they're using this as a small base. But the weird thing is, here we have Misbegotten, which is somewhat unclear if they're on Mesmer's side right now. And later on we also have Blood Fiends. Of course, the interesting gameplay-wise part here is we have all these not crystal lizards, what am I talking about? This is not Dark Souls. We have the crystal lizard adjacent scarabs that can drop valuable items. But of course, we have some Misbegotten that will defend these scarabs. So you have to be careful while picking off the Misbegotten that you're not scaring away the scarabs. Honestly, this looks quite cozy here. Looks like a nice picture. Might use this as a thumbnail. Here we have nothing special, more Misbegotten, and you already know, if you've been observant, you already know what this building or this structure means. It's another forge. The forges, I've probably said it in a previous episode, but the forges are interesting. in the sense, or useful in the sense of that you find a lot of upgrade materials inside. There is no boss at the end, and you will always get at least one weapon out of these. You have at the end a special weapon always that you can pick up, which is always kinda nice. So if you need upgrade materials, go inside. And if you don't, go inside anyways, because there's stuff to grab. On the back side there's nothing special really, only a few graves, but we've seen these spectral graves everywhere in the Shadowlands, so nothing special here. I find it interesting how many times the lighting is changing here today. Weather is going wild in this game. Now it's getting a bit foggy. I was happy about the sun. Now it's foggy again. Ugh. Here we have the promised Blood Fiends, the third faction, and this faction should definitely be against, or fighting against the Mesmer soldiers. Maybe we will see that later on, I'm not sure. In this dirty ass pond, they're not only like dead blood fiends, but I guess they're cannibals as well. They're probably eating themselves when they die. But also a few kind of useless items. Just some minor upgrade materials, nothing special here and there. Because we are now underneath the Great Bridge that leads into the upper area. Let's keep exploring. Maybe there's something interesting here to see. It's very weird that we have these camps now so close to their potential enemies. I'm pretty sure they're fighting at some spot. I'm not sure where though. But in this camp, we have a hidden chest. Let's see what's inside. The Pearl Shield Talisman. Very weird position though. Boosts all non-physical damage negation while guarding. Which is pretty good. If you like blocking a lot, this might be one of the shields that you want to use against a boss that uses maybe some elemental damage. Because as you know, good shields block 100% physical and a lot of elemental damage, but if I remember correctly, there's no shield that blocks 100% of any of the elemental damage types. So this talisman aids you in negating that kind of damage even further. But I'm not sure if I missed it, or if it's further down this way. But I'm pretty sure somewhere on this cliffside there should be a cave, as we can see here. And yeah, usually they should be fighting, if I remember correctly. But they need to be aggroed. I'm aggroing these enemies later on. They're probably not fighting each other right now, as they should. Of course they're fighting each other, what am I talking about? They should fight each other, but because I'm invisible, they obviously don't want this fight to happen while the player's not there. This fight purely exists so that the player can see it, right? So it should only start when the player's actually also close by. But here we have a dangerous entity. This is a chieftain, I think they're called. And these are probably one of the most dangerous enemies of this DLC, in my opinion. Their attacks deal a lot of damage, they have a lot of reach. And of course, if you're not using the right tools, or the tools that make the fight easier, then you're going to struggle. I don't even know if you can stagger them with heavy weapons, so I let the fight start by hitting one of these. Maybe not as good as I would have imagined, but I was hoping to trigger the full fight, but apparently they need to hit each other. Well, it definitely tells us that they can fight each other. Let's go away though. Usually enemies, when you have fights like these, where you have different enemy types or different enemy teams fighting each other, they're dealing less damage to themselves than to the player, just so that the fight carries on for a longer time. But now that we're through this small side area, where we have a very weird location for a camp, where, like, I find it strange that you camp right next to your enemy. Maybe they're besieging the enemy, but it kinda, like, their defenses pointed at the wrong direction, I felt like. It's kinda weird. At this place, though, we are now slightly to the... I can't open the map here, because I'm technically still in a fight. Hopefully this goes away soon, but now we're slightly to the west of the site of grace that we've started to unlock. Right over here. And we see the site of grace. If I can see it, I can't. Where the fuck? Oh, there it is. Let me quickly reset so that I can actually open the map. We're now going this way. And it's a fairly straightforward path up to a certain point. There's not much to see here, like you have cliffs to the right and to the left. Very high up. It's always nice to see this tremendous big kind of scale. Like, this is what From Software does very well. Creating these enormous structures. Look how epic this looks. With the structures very high up in the sky, covered by the golden light from the sun. At this point, we are getting shot at by a golem. And when you approach this golem, the other golem, the melee golem, starts to approach you, so you better be quick. Otherwise you have two golems on your ass. Over at this point, we have the small chasm, or the small woods in this chasm, where we find the Fog Rift catacombs, right in front of the Castle Ensis over here. This area we already have explored, but if you have a look at the map, imagine everything that is... I don't know where the cut is, but imagine everything that is up here is grayed out. And then you have this small area. I think the grayed out part even is over here as well. Like, you can see this part, right? You can see this part, but somewhere over here it's cut off. And you think like, okay, we have this small path. Maybe, how do I get up here? How do I get to this part? There's clearly something here. But if you explore this area, it's kind of frustrating. You only find these catacombs, and you've already been to these catacombs. There's now no path leading up here. So how do we get here? Very frustrating to encounter something like this, but well, I guess you have to explore somewhere else, right? If we continue this way, we will start to see this little crack. If we have a look at the map, there's this small crack. You can use this path to go to the river, or you can continue this way and then explore these ruins here and then go up here. It doesn't really matter. I would urge you to explore these ruins first, because I think this is also where the map is. Honestly, I'm not really sure where the map exactly is. It's somewhere on the ruins here, right? Oh, there's actually... Is it over here? Yeah, this is one of these monoliths that are housing the maps. So once you've been here, you unlock the map and you can see, you can finally see. Then of course another frustrating part before, when you're standing here for example, is you can see across. I think at least you can see across. You can, or at least on the map you see that there's something up here, but how do we get here? The Fog Rift Forge wasn't fruitful. There's no path leading into the mountain that leads up here. But finally we have the answer as well. We just need to find the spirit stones or whatever you want to call them. Luckily they're up right ahead here. Smash these things. We finally have access to the spirit spring that leads up this cliff. And then there is another one. And we're in this fairly empty area. There's not much to explore here. There's just this one mausoleum that you can, where you can find one adversary inside, which is kind of unfortunate. Let's quickly go into the mausoleum, smash the enemy that's inside, and be gone with it. Here we have a bear dude. Again, it's kind of unfortunate how things end up. If again we have a look at the teaser trailer or something, I'm kind of bitter about this. This area is not more, but here we can get the bear armor, I guess, minus the right helmet. It's just it's the wrong helmet. You need the helmet with the dragon head, a bear pelt head, right? How do I get down again? Where is the spirit spring? Was it over here? Oh, it's over there. It's even further. Right. It's kind of frustrating standing over there and then seeing this area. And how do I get here? But makes the design of this place even more interesting. Of the DLC, I mean. Exploration is a big part of this game, so if everything would have been so easy to find, then what's the point of exploration, right? You can see something, you can directly see the path to it. That's kind of boring. At least in some cases. You want to have some kind of challenge, right? But now we're in this place. What is it called? The Templetown Ruins. But we're searching for a Site of Grace, because the last Site of Grace is right over here. There are two golems in between these two places. It's kind of annoying having to run all the way back here if you're about to die. So where's the next Site of Grace? It's right over here. we're going to the north. There we can see the site of grace. Which is kind of unfortunately placed. Because you would expect a site of grace at the beginning of a potential new area, right? You would expect it to be somewhere over here. Right around in an area like this. Not like in an area like this. I'm making it kind of hard to discover. But now we need to find out. Now, of course, the site of grace is also for this area here. This is quite the dangerous, it's quite a dangerous area, I should say. Where the Temple Town ruins are kind of a pushover. The hard part is finding a way inside. At least that's what I've been experiencing on my first playthrough. I wasn't really finding the way inside. I tried climbing on these structures and then jumping inside, but that was no good. But let's keep exploring the outskirts here first. There should only be one important part here on the outside, which is over there. Another level up to the power of the character. Here we find another revered spirit ash, which is basically leveling up in the Shadowlands, right? The Shadow Tree fragments plus the revered spirit ash pieces. This is the scaling of the DLC. And now we need to find the entrance to this place, and the entrance is right over here, which is fairly easy to overlook. During the first month or so of this DLC coming out, I did a few invasions here and there. I was participating in multiplayer. Right now I'm not really playing this game anymore, other than this series, but I'm waiting for Night Rain or whatever it's called. But during the Prime, I was invading also in this area, and while I waited inside to ambush the host plus the one or two phantoms, what I've encountered many times is that they couldn't find the entrance. Similar to myself, I couldn't find the entrance for a long time as well. Until I finally found it. It's kind of frustrating because this area is not really that big of a deal. It's just like these are just random ruins. Not random ruins, but these look very similar in design to the Prospect Town or even the Scorched Ruins. It's the same architecture. As you can see, we have these cloths hanging from the roofs, or the remaining roofs, and all over the place, mimicking the veil that is over the Shadow Tree itself. And then we have to find a way inside certain structures in order to pick up certain items. So the level design of these ruins is fairly grounded compared to certain other levels they've already designed. Unique part is that we can use torrent here. Easier to traverse certain things, certain parts here. But these are just ruins, there's no boss here, it's not counted as a dungeon. The hardest part of these ruins is up here, where you have to fight one of these bird dudes. Not really. No, these are not bird dudes. The bird dudes are coming, but these kind of strong-looking Hornsent, the beefy guys. And as a reward for beating this one, or sneaking around him, is the two-handed sword talisman. Let's... how do I open the inventory? I was playing a bit of Monster Hunter demo. Now the controls are all screwed up, in my head at least. You will find a sword, a two-handed sword talisman. A talisman depicting a warrior two-handing a sword. Enhances attacks with two-handed weapons, who would have thought. The horned warrior were fitting... But the horned warriors were fitting figureheads for the military might of the tower they kept watching over. The deft attacks slashing through any and all foes. If we have a look at this one, pretty sure the sword that this one is holding is not resembling the swords that they are usually holding. If we have a look at this one's sword, this one has a hilt, it's curved. And if we have a look at the sword, the talisman looks kinda... It looks different. Of course it's cut off. Because imagine making a talisman with a long-ass sword on the main body of the talisman. I would be uncomfortable to carry around. Don't even know where you're putting these talismans that you want to affect. Right? It's kinda a nice idea, or an interesting idea. In previous games we had ring slots, where it's like, okay, I have more fingers and I can fit more rings on my fingers than are just 2 or 4. It's kinda weird. How do the talismans works? How do these talisman work? How does this, like, how do you... Like, I have a pouch full of these things, right? Like, look at this, I have a pouch full of these talismans, but how do I activate them? Do I need to put them into these pouches that are magically activating them? That's a gameplay mechanic, right? Don't think too hard about it. Sure, you can make something up, like you can make lore up around why you can only carry 4, or why you need special pouches for them. So you put one talisman in one pouch and then it activates its effect and such, but it's a gameplay mechanic, right? Let's make it morning again. Otherwise I'm getting tired. Oh, it's raining. Oh, nice. Well, weird part though is this river, if we can call it a river. It's not really flowing, right? Like it's fairly stagnant. So shouldn't there be a bunch of dead and filthy stuff around this place, like these fly dudes? Shouldn't they be here instead of just regular enemies? Like these regular Shadowlands inhabitants. Let's see if there's something meaningful in this place, because if we have a look, we have a path here, right? We have a path leading this way, so there should be something meaningful here as well. And we have a small graveyard. Let's see what they are hiding here. Just some flowers. That is kind of underwhelming. How unfortunate. Sometimes looking back at areas, you find all the weirdest things in the world. Like this tree in the background there looks very strange. Kind of caught my eye there for a second. But now, if we're a bit observant, and can you really not make this jump, first of all? No, it's close, but no. Let's quickly get up to the ruins. again, because there's a small detail or a small area that I haven't pointed out, but it's the easiest to see from the end of the ruins here, which is this small area up there. It looks too significant to be just a background area, right? It looks too significant. You can't see anything up there. There's no item sticking out, but you just know that you have to get there somewhere. Maybe from above, because it's right here. Could be, right? There could be an elevator going down, or maybe this area has a big underground portion where it's inside these stones, right? But you're still curious. And later on, if you've been to this area, even up there, like if you've done this place before, then you know there is nothing down there. You can't go you can't go down. So how do you get there? Well, luckily you can keep exploring. We have this structure over there, which maybe doesn't look that significant, but it's definitely more than just the stone pillar. There's something more reachable over there, so we want to know. But before we can get there, we're encountering this weird place where, like, we can see these big red butts over here, and then we see the horror. We're in an area with a bunch of pests. These are red, but still the same pests as we know and possibly hate. They're just red because that's their new design here in this DLC. There's no difference between these pests and the base game pests. Well, that's technically wrong. Certain pests have, instead of using, they have a ranged attack, right? The majority of pests are using pest threats as an attack. But in this DLC later on, we will find another attack, which is called pest spears, I think. And some of these pests are also using these pest spears, which are more dangerous. But if we go up here, which is right on this point, in between these two pillars here of the bridge, we can see another spirit spring. We take the spirit spring, we land in this area with a chest in a weird location. Opening the chest reveals useless upgrade materials, which is like one of the evil troll items they've put into these chests. It's glowing purple. It must be some. Oh no, it's just an upgrade material. Oh well. How dare they? With some smithing stones and then with some observation. No, I can probably jump over there. So, oh, what is this? Oh, where does this lead to? Oh, it's leading into. Oh, nice. I wonder what's there. Ooh, a dungeon? Is there a no, it's just a chest. It's not a dungeon. It's a chest with nothing inside because I already have it. So probably a cookbook or something similar. How unfortunate. Maybe there's something behind here. Oh no, there's not really anything. Is this a hidden wall? No. It's just this. How unfortunate. Anyways, how do I get back? That's actually a good question. How do I get back? I can just use torrent and jump over the wall. Looks kind of weird though. Looks like there should be a easier way back. But now we have this small problem here, right? We have this river piece And it's all red, like we can see it's all red, so there are a bunch of pests here. And good luck dealing with them. Maybe you can rush them down or separate them with a bow, because there are even more of them here. Or maybe you just decide to sneak around, it's up to you. But keep in mind, there might be some good items around. Exactly, and screaming birds that alert some other birds. But because there are so many deathbird statues over here, there of course is something cool around, which is the Gravebird's Black Quill armor. Which is a bit different to the armor that I'm using right now. This one has more feathers. Amazing. Because they're actually, if I remember correctly, like we have a helmet with 2 armors, 1 arm part and 1 leg guard. Or leg part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things of the set to find. Which is quite nice. And I think this one has the same effect. Yeah, it enhances jumping attacks, and this one is not. So the one with the extended wings or feathers is actually a bit more useful. And it probably provides more defense, right? Yeah, but it's heavier. So then we have this pillar over here that is being used as one of their, I don't know, meeting points or whatever. They tend to surround this place quite a lot. They even, I think they're patrolling in a circle here. They're going around and around, so be careful. At least with this patrol. Then there also should be this place, which we could have explored before. With this place you can outright skip the ruins. I don't know why you want to do that, but you definitely could. Right? So maybe this is revealing... Is this revealing the gap? No. The gap is over here. Huh. Honestly, I don't know what this path is for, really. It's just there. It's just making this area just a tiny bit less linear. Which is fine, but I still see no real point in this place. Here we have a small cave. Which, if you know these traps, these are placed by the Vulgar Militia. So they're trapping the player and baiting the player with this dude. Of course, these are somewhat of an equivalent to the scarabs or the crystal lizards. It's basically the scarab of or crystal lizard of the DLC, because they are always holding something useful in their jars, but they also vanish, so be quick. Weird thing is though, there's no vulgar militia around the cave, even though we can find their traps there. So I'm wondering why. Like later on we will find some more, I guess they're not called Vulgar Militia, they're called Shadow Militia, because they are of the Shadow Realm. But anyways, it's the same enemy type. But now the real horror starts. Like if you think these pests they aren't bad enough, right? They're just a tiny bit annoying, but they're manageable. Hey, get over here. Give me the Ash of War, Poison Flower Blossom twice. Poison Flower blossoms twice. My god. It's not Shadows die twice, it's Poison Flower blossoms twice. Which is a interesting Ash of War. It's quite useful. If we read it, this Ash of War grants an armament, the Poison Affinity, and the following skill. The Poison Flower blossoms twice, conjures stingers of Scarlet Rot from below to stab the enemy, landing a follow-up attack on a foe already inflicted with poison or rot deals massive damage in one fell swoop. Usable on all melee armaments. So the cool thing is, if you poison an enemy, or Scarlet Rot an enemy, then, and you do this Ash of War, if I remember correctly, you take, like, I'm not pretty sure if they take all the poison damage at once, plus extra damage, or if it's a fixed amount of damage. But it's pretty decent. It's kind of finicky because it looks very weird. You jump in the air and then this spike forms underneath one of your feet, and then you do a like a spiral kick, like a stinging bee or something. It's very weird, but it's a pretty cool one. Not so useful in PvP, I feel like, but in PvE it's pretty decent. But sometimes it misses where it shouldn't really miss. Here we have more of these horns and warriors, so be careful. But as I said, the true horror begins. Because now you have to decide between two, maybe not that difficult. One is not that difficult but disgusting, and the other one is quite annoying areas. We have the river and we have the forest. And oh boy, both are... oh boy. Let me present to you the Rune Bear Forest. Why do I call it the Rune Bear Forest? Let's try and count how many rune bears are inside. Here we have one of the rune bears. Hello, Mr. Rune Bear. One is over here. As the marker disappeared, one is over here. Right, there's a second one, but quickly let's go up here. Let's see if there's another rune bear hiding somewhere around here. I guess this kind of looks like a big pile of shit. And if this is really a pile of shit, then it's probably not from the rune bears, but from the goats shitting themselves by looking at the sheer amount of rune bears there are. I mean, even one rune bear is too many rune bears, I feel like. Here's the second one. So far so good, like we've seen more. And I mean, I might be exaggerating here, but I don't like this enemy type. I don't like fighting them. Like, the idea of having a big angry bear is cool, but their moveset is just... ugh. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Come on, more rune bears, please. Here we have a sleeping rune bear. Mark it. Oh, here we have another sleeping rune mirror. Let me mark it. And they will wake up if you're getting too close, so don't get too close. But this stone looks pretty cool. There are some items here, so let's pick them up. Oh, throwing knife, really? Oh, beast. Oh, come on. No. Oh, lump of flesh. Oh, fuck you. There's not really good stuff up here. Right? There's not really good stuff. Now we're getting this weird thing. Like, why is there a Stake of America here? Oh, not Stake of America. One of these summoning pools. And oh god, is that a rune bear boss? So technically number 5, even stronger. Let's see if there are more than 5 rune bears. But the most infuriating thing, in my opinion, the most infuriating thing is this item over here. Right, you would think, like, okay, like we had these useless items over here. They were not purple, not gold, nothing, right? They're just white items, so. And then you have this item that is over here, and like, okay, what is this again? Like more beast blood stuff or something. And an armor set. Like the gloried armor set or whatever. Like, what the fuck is this doing here? And by the way, I think this is one of the armor sets that were in the game unobtainable, but were in the game files before the DLC even dropped. Like, they've just dumped them in here. And I think there's another set as well that we already have that's similar to this. But now we have a rune bear boss here, so feel free to kill that thing. And then now we see flying stuff in the river. Holy shit, what the fuck is that? I don't want to go there. Let's keep on looking at more rune bears, if there are any. But 5 rune bears is like... Oh, okay, 5 of these. Oh, are you sure? But I think that's it, right? I think 5 rune bears is the maximum. Because one of these is a boss, but... To me, every single rune bear is a boss. So, this is really a pile of shit. That doesn't really like how many... I don't know. Might be a pile of shit. Oh, let's see. There's an item inside. Horn, stone, extra. It's a pile of shit. But now, more shit. But now we have the riverbed. It's a boy. What the fuck is this? If you have any type of fear of giant insects, then we've seen them in Ballarat. And we've seen them... where is it? Down there. We've seen some of them. Let's see, where was it? Was it up in the red area? Yes. Was... Right, in front of the... Was it in front of the lament? No, not of the Lamentus jail. It was... Where is... Bonnie Village? It's up there. We've seen some of them on this side, right in front of the Bonnie jail, right? But so far that's very tame, and we haven't seen the flying ones. And they're not very difficult to fight, but... Ugh. A true nightmare. I really don't like insects, and I don't like their paper-like wings either, and their weird hairs that they have on their long limbs, and they have way too many limbs. Like, we have 4 limbs, these have way too many. If you count these wings as part of limbs, like they have more than 10. It's ugh, disgusting stuff. And some of them are poisonous, not to an extent where a human can get hurt. Like, I'm talking about normal insects, right? Or arachnids. Some of them have like just minor poison that can kill other insects or other small critters, but then you have these giant things, and oh, you don't wanna fight them. I don't even want to see their moveset. Just shoot them with bow and arrow, like not even bow and arrow. Take the giant bow and arrow, right? Take Radan's bow and then, just kill them from afar. Take out the flamethrower or something. Disgusting. If they exist in real life. In this game, doesn't really matter. But here, this is the end of this place. This is the end. Here we have some of the Shadow Militia looking after and protecting another tomb or catacomb area. Let's see which area this one is, because I can't really remember. Oh, of course, the Scorpion River Catacombs. How fitting the name is, because you get it, there's a river with scorpions, or with scorpion spiders inside. How nice, right? Right. 5 rune bears and a bunch of flying nightmares that are not insects, that are arachnids. Technically. But that are certainly, for some people, very disgusting. But then we also have this area, and you're wondering, like, okay, that area over here, right? Remember the thing that you could see from here, like the small area? We could get there with a spirit spring, so how the fuck do I get to this area? I mean, it doesn't really look that high up, right? So, oh, it's very high up. But okay. Spirit springs propel us very high up. So where the fuck is the spirit spring here? Just give me the spirit spring. I don't want to fight anymore. Flying scorpions. But then you realize, oh, there is no spirit spring inside. There's nothing on this cliffside. I've killed these scorpions for nothing. Ugh. Why? Why would you do this? And then you realize, okay, you actually have to access this area from up here. But now we're at the end of the, I don't know how to call this area, the Rauh Basin, or the Rauh Base, I think it's called, not basin. It's a base, the base of the Rauh, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's R-A-U-H, right? How do you pronounce that thing? I mean, it's a ravine north, Templetown ruins. Then we have the ancient ruins base, and with these woods and the Talos ruined forge. Quite a lot of stuff. Like this small side area, or fairly expansive, right? It's expanding very wide, but it's fairly easy to go through, right? It's not very complex. It's very easy to find your way. That's what I mean, to find the right path. There are not that many secrets. Maybe the small area up here as a secret, whatever was inside. Like, it's there. It's very easy to explore everything besides the enemies. But we're at the end here, and we have found 2 more minor dungeons to explore at some point. And I should really mark them as such. And if the counter is correct, we already have 9 dungeons that we can explore. And I wonder how I will do this. I will probably start with these dungeons once we're at a very specific dungeon. At a very specific dungeon that we need to go through in order to unlock a certain area. And then I will do these dungeons in categories, right? We will have a look at all of the jail type things, and we will have a look at all of the ruined forges in a different video maybe. Depends on how much time it takes. And then we will have a look at the catacombs and so on, right? I think these are the 3 types of dungeons that we have in this DLC. Oh no, then there are some caves. Or maybe just one cave, I don't know. Should have done this cave at the same time where I did the Dragon's Pit. But whatever. I will find a somewhat fitting time to do certain things. Right. But now let's get back to this area. Let's have a look at it from a gameplay and a world design perspective. World design wise, there's some lore hints going on, right? With these woods where you have 3, at least in my head, 3 different types of factions. We have the Blood Fiends that are to the west in these woods. Then we have the Misbegotten that are to the northeast. And then in the south we have small outposts of Mesmer's soldiers. Blood Fiends and soldiers fighting each other at the entrance of a small cave, probably where the Blood Fiends are sleeping. I mean, they're also sleeping in the disgusting water, so whatever. Then we have a few golems here. The evil map that is placed over here. So I don't know how this area actually looks like. And then the dangerous area up here with the pests and the rune bears and the disgusting, not that difficult, but disgusting flying scorpions. But we also have different themes, really, right? Like with the Templeton ruins, which are, well, it's a ruin theme of a civilization that has been almost killed to extinction. And we have Blood Fiends, which is another faction and another culture in and out of itself. Blood Fiends tied to the Formless Mother, the entity that Moog also worshipped, with Misbegotten Mesmers, like in the forested area. Then we have some pest lore, and looking at where we find them, so far, if I remember correctly, we haven't really found any pests. So they're really confined to this area so far, and they will be confined to this area in particular. So we are actually getting fairly close to their origin point. And we are actually fairly close to the origin point, which is, I can spoil it here, which is this area. This is their origin point. So we can expect some more of this enemy type around here. Of course, we have these flying scorpions over here, which also can be found very close to this area. But you could also find like the scorpions in the Ballarat region, which always, like, the Ballarat region feels more desert-like to me. Like, Ballarat itself feels like a city that you can find in a desert, like the Desert Jewel or something. It looks very Middle Eastern. It doesn't really look Middle Eastern, but it has a Middle Eastern vibe to it, in my opinion. The ruins, not that much, but Ballarat plus the area that we'll find up here, the extension of Ballarat, the Sacred Tower or whatever. And of course, stuff collapsed here, like we have these walkways, these aqueducts or bridges, whatever these things are, they're broken down. So this is probably how they got down here, how they inhabited and infested this riverbed over here. Of course, pests are thriving at areas with stagnant water, and if we are to look at this place, it's not very running. Like, the river is not really running, even though we have a waterfall over here. It's very slow moving, if at all, right? I mean, it must be moving at some point. But this is what I read from a world design perspective. Of course, if we also have some of the Deathbird area over here, but they're scattered so much around this place. Like, Deathbirds, you can find them almost everywhere. Like the Deathbird kind of theme. Of course, we also have in the woods, we have a bunch of rune bears, so I wonder if the rune bears in these woods got all killed by the new inhabitants of this place. Because you would expect, like, bears to find in the forest. As we found some bears over here as well. Right, there was this bear boss, I think it was over here. Area like this, you would expect bears over here and here, or at least wildlife, right? Not necessarily bears, but wildlife in general. So I wonder if the bears got kicked out of these woods. And of course we have this mausoleum, which also has ties to the bears, to the rune bears. All very confined to the small area. Gameplay wise, there's a wide variety of enemies, I must say. It's quite the diverse area. But it's also fitting. They're confined to their small areas, and it's a nice change in an area. Like, I would expect like a few enemy types, like that this area is themed a certain way, but we have more different themes in areas, like pest area, bear territory, different factions over here, ruined civilization kind of thing going on, like more of the horn scent stuff going on here. It's very themed, and it's a nice mix-up in an area like this, which is more like a connector and a connector area. Like, we have ruins connected to dungeon, connected to another dungeon, right? It's not a big legacy dungeon that you're connected to, but it's a nice in-between area. And then, of course, game design wise, or level design wise, I should say, it's fairly linear. We have a few secrets here and there, in particular this part over here. Other than that, it's fairly straightforward, but imagine everything being complex. That wouldn't be that much fun, right? You want to have certain areas being made out of complex level design, and then you want to have areas that are made of a more traditional, more chill level design, right? Straightforward, maybe with a few secrets here and there. But let me know what you think about this area, if you like the design of this small place, or if you have the same opinion that 5 rune bears are 5 too many, or at least 4 too many. But yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this place, and that's it for me. Goodbye.